Welcome to the channel. I'm Gandalf and I will be your guide. On this channel I explore science fiction, fantasy, videos, games, movies, same as videos, and books, and just do a general review of those things. In this video we're going to look at the very brand new trailer that just dropped. Take this off. From Amazon Prime, and this trailer is the Lord of the Rings on, no, it used to be called the Lord of the Rings on Prime. It is now called The Rings of Power. I'm someone who has been cautiously optimistic about this all along, and so I'm just going to share some of my thoughts of what I think about the trailer, and we're going to look at the different still frames from the trailer, and I'm just going to give some of my thoughts on what I think is going on. So let me start with kind of the last 3 or 4 days. Feels like a couple of days ago, maybe like a week ago, maybe it's shorter than that, Amazon released a bunch of still images of different characters, just kind of from the waist or the head down. So you don't really see their face, you see just kind of their hands close up on different parts of them. And that was kind of cool. I think people were interested in what's going to happen. Then 2 days ago, Amazon dropped a bunch of pictures in Vanity Fair, and the internet started to lose its mind. Tolkien fans were really upset by just the depictions and the changes of what people saw. So I'm going to get into some of that speculation as we look at this, and as I look at the stills from the trailer and talk about what my thoughts are about this. I'll just say right from the beginning, I'm very excited about the direction that this could go. Let's dive into the stills from the trailer and go from there. Okay, let's talk about this first image here. I mean, obviously this is a really beautiful image of, I'm gonna guess, Numenor. My knowledge of the Silmarillion is not strong enough that I could say I know for sure. But if I had to guess, this is probably Numenor. And anyway, it's beautiful. This does remind me absolutely of the Lord of the Rings, and it makes me kind of feel excited for what they might, do and how they'll tell the story of this. There certainly looks like, different places. I get the feeling when I looked at Minas Tirith of just how explorable Minas Tirith was, and this looks very explorable. I love the detail here. One of the things I love about Tolkien is geography and his placement of where cities are. It just feels like you can dive into these worlds, and this absolutely does that. Okay, so I'm happy with this one for sure. Okay, so this image here is an interesting one. I'm guessing these two guys are wizards. There's another angle of this. There were some images that were leaked prior to the trailer coming out from the front of these guys, and they sort of have that wizard look to them. They've got a staff, and I don't know, they just look kind of strange. So my guess is these are probably blue wizards. And if they portray them as these kooky wizards, it's okay. We don't know anything really about the blue wizards. Tolkien himself never really gave us anything about them, so they're up for debate as to who and what the blue wizards do. My question is, when did they come in? For some reason I thought the blue wizards don't arrive until the beginning of the Third Age, but I could be wrong on that. Yeah, I could absolutely be wrong on that. So if these are wizards or something else, who knows what they could be, but anyway, it looks cool. Here comes an image that has got me wondering. I'm not concerned about this. I'm sure there's gonna be people online that are gonna lose their minds over this image. Like, who is she? And is she some character that we're supposed to like? Well, yeah, probably. If she's a hobbit, I'm gonna think that's a little weird. She looks hobbity, so that's my guess here. I'm not sure what's going on in her hair. No idea who this character is. So big question mark here. I don't know whether to be excited or kind of scared about this. I'm on the fence. So I kind of like this shot that they bring in before the king. Okay, and obviously they're referring to before. I think they're referring to before Aragorn, before the king comes along. But this is like way before the king, before the kings of Numenor, or is this like before, like Aragorn the king, which is like thousands of years before this. So I don't know what this means. Okay, I find this to be an interesting shot. I wonder if this person is Galadriel, is just a question I have. I notice she's got these big iron gauntlets on, and I'm saying she looks like she's got a feminine face. That's just a guess. I noticed she's got that dagger. Now that dagger showed up in some earlier character shots they did of a lot of the characters, and this dagger or this sword or whatever has the two trees of oh my goodness, of the elves. Okay, I've got that. I'm sorry about my ignorance about the names. Anyway, I am guessing she's an elf, but I don't know enough about who she is or where she is to really comment further. All I know is that this interesting shot. The shot prior, I should have mentioned this, the one in the big mountains. I love the size of the mountains that they're showing for this. It's one of my hopes for this series is they really point the target back on nature and the beauty and the power of nature, and they don't avoid. I really don't like it in fantasy when it's like all the characters have power over nature. And I want there to be like this subtle message of like, you can't control nature. Nature is its own power in and of itself. And when you try and do it, there's consequences. I love that about Lord of the Rings. But anyway, I am on a big tangent right now, so I'm going to just let it keep going here. Okay, I do like this. This is good marketing here. This is targeting towards the people who were going like, what's this Lord of the Rings? Are they redoing the Lord of the Rings? No, clearly this is like long before Lord of the Rings, before the Fellowship. Okay, so it's good messaging. Okay, this is the second shot. There was a shot earlier that I skipped over. It's the very, very beginning when the ship is coming into that city. This is the second shot we have of a boat that's been destroyed. I won't give too much. I do know little bits and pieces of the story of Numenor, and so I know that there is a storyline that absolutely, if they mess it or if they miss some of the key details of that storyline, I will be a little bit upset, but not. I won't lose my mind. I'm assuming this might be from that storyline, but I don't know the exact details. I do know there's another shot where Galadriel is on this shipwreck with this guy. And that's from another shot, the shots that they released previously. So I don't know what's going on here. Okay, I kind of like this shot. This was a concern a lot of people had watching. They had a couple of shots of this character, and obviously he's black and he's got kind of short hair. He's got this kind of like crew cut. A lot of people were upset by this portrayal of the elves, and I'm kind of like, I didn't know where I sat with that. I found it a little bit out of place. Seeing this guy in action, I think, has helped to curb some of that concern. That makes me see like, okay, if they're say true to what elves do, or even better, if there's like a whole race of elves who look like this guy, hands down, cool. Like if they invent the elves, it's fine. What I'm concerned about is that everything will be like ultra multicultural, and we're just supposed to kind of see past how multicultural it is. I know that that's not going to sit well with people, and I apologize if that offends people. I'm not trying to be offensive. That works really well in Star Trek for me. And that idea of like the future could be so much better when we learn how to get along. But to go back to the past and say like as if we're stuck in this weird time warp where right now everything's bad, but look at the past. Everything was perfect back then. Look in the future. Look at how everything could be. That feels weird. It feels odd to me. Okay. So this shot here, before the ring. Obviously this is long before, Bilbo, before any of that happened. They're trying to tell the story of the rings, so it's a good line to include. Okay, there was some concern I noted from a number of people about what the elves were going to look like. Were they all going to be these short hair elves, and they were just gonna ask us to believe that they were all short haired elves? This one clearly a long haired elf. I suspect this guy's important. I wonder if because I know there's been talk about one particular elf that's important to the storyline, which is Gil-galad, and I'm probably butchering that name. So my guess, maybe this is Gil-galad. That'd be great. Or if, the guy, I can't pronounce his name, the one who makes the rings, Celebrimbor, or I'm probably butchering that one too. Anyway, looking forward to finding out who this guy is. All right, so here's one of the controversial roles that a lot of people have expressed concern over, and she was identified in one of the pictures, one of the promotion pictures, that this is Galadriel. It's like a warrior version of Galadriel. A lot of people are quite upset by this, about making Galadriel into kind of this Joan of Arc character. I'm not entirely convinced that's a bad thing. I know that there was no like expressed like, no, Galadriel never ever goes to war and she never fights. You can see that, you know, she's a pretty like, you know, maybe this is part of her past, and then she like learns later that you know, in her past she realized that that's not the way to work with people. So maybe it's her learning. I don't know. That could be cool. I'm not opposed to it. Yeah, no idea. This kind of looks like it could be inside a cave or something like that, or maybe it's the same person again wearing chainmail. No idea. Okay, this one. This is definitely something that people are going to speculate a lot about. Now, right off the bat, this creature has the like look of the cave trolls. The nose definitely reminds me of the cave trolls from Lord of the Rings. There's a lot of other features about this creature that are unknown, and so I can't comment on what exactly this is. Maybe this is like Amazon's version of a troll. Could definitely be a creature within Khazad-dûm. I know that that's been already discussed, that there'll be events that happen in Khazad-dûm, so that's exciting. I wonder if this is, you know, one of the creatures that they unearth beneath Khazad-dûm. That's just a guess. Okay, this looks to me very Rivendell-like. You know, the trees kind of losing their leaves in the fall, this waterfall, and it looks like kind of a council of people near this waterfall. This looks Lord of the Rings-y to me. So I kind of liked this shot. Again, I'm gonna sucker for all of the nature shots, so I'll be the one that's like applauding when I see, you know, great depictions of nature. So I'm all in when it comes to good nature shots next to the waterfalls. I love this stuff. Yeah, give me more of that. Okay, now this I know is Durin. Durin the 4th or 3rd, I can't remember which one. I was glad to see an actual dwarven depiction here. I was hoping for something more dwarf-like, and you know, this looks kind of cool. What's interesting in the background, there's these masks, or I don't know if those are dead. Yeah, I don't know what's going on here. I mean, I'm assuming this is Durin in Khazad-dûm. I wonder if it's going to go through the whole them unearthing a Balrog, and then yeah, I don't know. I have no idea how that's going to go, but I'm super curious to hear the story of Khazad-dûm. That's going to be exciting. Okay, now I know that this character here is Elrond, and you can see by the ears, the elf ears, that this is an elf. At first, I was a little like, because I saw the images of Elrond as, you know, this shorter hair version of Elrond. I didn't know what to make of those pictures, just because I'm like, I don't know, I'm used to long-haired elves, so seeing them short hair feels like, I don't know, there's something weird about it. Seeing him now here, I'm still not convinced I like it, but hopefully the characterization and especially the acting will draw me in. So I'm not like against the short hair Elrond. I think that it's interesting. But I would say the same argument I said about the earlier depiction of the other elf. Are all the elves now short-haired, or is this just like a thing? Do elves, as they age, does their hair grow at a certain rate? Maybe that's what I've got wrong. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. So I'm hoping that they answer questions like that. Okay, so this was one of the leaked images not this particular image, but there's an image of this female, and she's one of the dwarven princesses. So same question as before. I'm just curious, is this how dwarves operate? I would want to know, like, is this like a line of dwarves that look this particular way? It's, you know, in my brain, it's hard to like shift out of what a dwarf looks like. And if there's absolutely a dark-skinned, you know, version of the dwarves, then that would make sense. But if it's kind of like multicultural city again, I'll feel like, why? I just want to know why they would go that direction without like explaining it. If they don't want to explain it and they're trying to go like, just see past color, you're not getting it, you're a racist because you said that, I'm going to feel like, come on, like, you could go and at least explain why, not just, you know, always want to pull the multicultural card. Yeah. So this shot's interesting because it's revealed that this character they found in the water, and there's another picture of this particular woman in the water just from the face up. You can see that picture online. My guess here is this is Galadriel. She was tossed off of that ship that we saw earlier, the one where I said that there was an image of this, that like broken up shipwrecked piece of ship. Okay. And this is whatever character suddenly realizing that she's an elf. Yeah, this image here is really challenging to figure out what's going on. No idea. Something's being destroyed. Everything's burning. Couldn't tell you what's going on. I'm sure we'll find out later. But this next image is like swirling destruction. Okay, so here's a shot, just a screenshot here of someone's like slicing through this giant rock, and there's big bearded dwarves in the background. Cool. Like I want to see more of the dwarves. I love the depictions of dwarves. I like that they're going with that, you know, what's expected of dwarves, big beards, these old dwarves kind of, you know, mining for stuff. Yeah, I love it. Okay, this image here is an odd one because it's this dude with it looks like a giant axe, and he's flying in the air. He's chained to something, and then he like chops down. He chops the axe down, and like, I don't know what he's trying to hit. So yeah, no idea. Okay, character, I don't think that's Elrond. It's obviously some other elf, and they're involved in a big battle. It looks like they're battling orcs, but I can't tell if that's an elf. The ears don't look quite elf-like. Let me back that up a bit. Okay, from that shot, you got the pointy ear there. Oh, I don't have the mouse cursor on. You can see there. He's got a little pointy ear. So, elves? Battling, which I think are, like I say, are orcs. That's cool. Okay, then this shot, I don't know what this is. Is that supposed to be a hobbit? A hobbit hand? And maybe I want to say a wizard hand? No idea. Or is it just a child? Okay, and then that's where it ends. My final thoughts about this trailer. I mean, it's so exciting. It's exciting that this is finally happening. Even going through it shot by shot, there's some parts of this that I'm like, oh yeah, I am very excited about. I'm very excited to see if they really are able to bring in some of those great wide shots of nature and kind of bring that theme as an important part of this. I'm not as excited about what they'll do to the material that doesn't exist. It feels like there's a bit of a narrative in that trailer even that I'm kind of like, okay, I don't quite know what story is going to be told, but I know for sure, like the main plot here are two big stories that have to be told. One is the fall of Numenor, and why does it fall? To me, that's a valuable tale, and it's valuable for what people will be able to find for themselves. If they're able to tell that story well in a way that allows people access to their own whatever they want to get out of it, then they will have, you know, checked a big box, and I'll be happy that they can do that without trying to go like in your face, like this is what you're supposed to learn. Yeah, because Tolkien hated that stuff. The second story is, of course, Sauron and Sauron tempting people, getting them to take rings and watching them get corrupted by the rings. I really hope that it focuses on how destructive these rings become and how it kind of destroys people's senses. Again, I hope they don't try and like force you to think or feel something through the way that people are corrupted. I want people to draw their own meaning from what these rings of power do. One of my favorite discussions around the ring is how, especially humans, how they become corrupted by the rings over time, and how they turn into wraiths. It parallels so closely to what happens to people who kind of become blinded when they're so powerful and they have so much influence and they have all this money. Often, like heads of large corporations, just without even thinking, do things to smaller corporations and smaller people that they don't even care about, without even thinking, and they have no clue what they're doing, or they'll say it's just business, you know, that's the way it goes. Meanwhile, like stockpiling more and more money. I mean, Jeff Bezos is a great example in some of the things that he's done. So it's concerning. I'll put it down. I'm concerned that we'll watch all this, and that entire, you know, storyline of the corruption power of the rings will just be kind of this side note, and it'll be this other story that we weren't expecting. That's my worry, my big concern. But this teaser helped me to feel less concerned. So I'm still on the fence, but I'm going to watch all of them. That's for sure. That's not a question. I'm cautiously optimistic. Let's put it that way. I'm cautiously optimistic. Yeah. So if you're into this and you like my video, go ahead and like the video for sure. And if you're in for the long haul and you want to stick around, go ahead and subscribe. I'd love it if you did. And I'm looking forward to seeing this stuff with you, my channelings, my Gandalflings, and hope to see you on the next video. See ya.